starting a business is the hardest thing you ever do in your life. It's 10 times harder than I ever had it out on the road. But I do it for me.
Yeah, and everything is on you.
12 years of building someone else, and now I figured I'm gonna take some years to see if I can do it for myself, right? And you realize, you realize at the top, there's nobody else to ask for help.
What up, people? Welcome to the Doing Everything Different podcast. I'm your host, Devin Lars, and today we got a really good friend of mine. I'm super excited about this conversation. There's not a ton of people that I have met along my journey just in business and met through business kind of relationships and dealings that I have kept in contact for a long time. I think that I think you're the only one that I've kept in contact for so long. And, we've kept a relationship over the years, and it's just been super cool to kind of see your growth and have people on this podcast that inspire me. And so I'm super excited to have my homie George on this episode. So George, welcome to the show.
Man, blessings. Thank you, brother. And I have to say, all the journeys we followed each other through, all the businesses and all that stuff, man, it's been phenomenal. I was definitely thinking back at how long we've known each other. It's been a minute. We on a decade.
It's been a minute. I know, that's crazy when you think about it. I'm super. So much stuff has changed. The world has changed.
Whew.
I feel like personally been through a lot. There's been a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of stuff. And so I'm just excited to, again, have this conversation. I think that there's been a ton of stuff that I've been loving watching your growth throughout the years and kind of your pivots and transitions and just how you navigate as, just a man and a father and a husband and just, an entrepreneur. And so it's just super dope to have people that inspire you. And so I kind of wanted to start off with just like an introduction, introducing yourself, kind of what you do. And let's go from there.
Man, it's like I feel like I've lived so many lives. Like how trying to introduce myself to it's crazy. But man, I'm George. Spelled with a J. Jorge when I'm in trouble to my family. And now I gotta say Coach J. You know what I'm saying? Different walks of life for each one of those people. To your introduction, I think the last three are probably the most important to me. The father, the entrepreneur, and the husband. Like those are probably the most satisfying of the places I've been in my life. Are right there right now. So man, just a hustler is what I am, and trying to get in where I can fit in anywhere I go, and just trying to be nobody's universally liked, but I'd like to say I try to be, man.
Yeah, I love that. And so you tell us a little bit about what you have in terms of your businesses. I know that you have a gym and also a nutrition shop. So tell me a little bit about that.
Man, the gym is you said a lot has changed in the world, man. The gym came about. I was an overweight dude for a long time. I think you've seen me through my journey probably better.
Yes.
We've known each other a while, so the gym came about as a hustle during a pivotal time. For everybody in the world. COVID was a transition for me from one business adventure to another. I wouldn't even say business adventure, business life, a business that gave me the motivation to go out and be able to hustle for myself and really put something on the table that I can say is mine and I make the rules. And so, man, the gym has been phenomenal. It's Fit Worldwide, spelled with a PH like you see right here. I always get the why'd you spell it with PH? You think back to, our cultural icon movies, Friday and all that, everything's better with a PH. But no, it really had some intention, man. I really thought it through. It's an acronym. It stands for Physicality Heals Inner Turmoil. A lot of that goes to the places of why people become physically active, right? So turmoil, self-turmoil, and it can be so many things, man. I need to lose weight. I want to put on weight for those who are smaller. And they exist. They are out there. People who struggle with trying to keep weight on. The people, finances. I need to go to the gym. I don't want to think about it. Relationship stress. Medical reasons. All those things can be just a sense of turmoil. You know what I mean? Just trying to clear that head and figure those things out. And so not only was it a self-reflection for me, because I knew it was the turmoil that I had went through and years of it, the ups and downs, it was just kind of a representation of the people that I wanted to help, and the brand that I wanted to start. So fit was that. The worldwide part was kind of like, was a marketing thing, it was just trying to understand, like, my Instagram handle was George Worldwide, and that's how so many people had known me for so long. So my transition was Fit Worldwide, and I had started, traveling in the entertainment industry, and I was all over the place. I was worldwide. I was everywhere. So I was doing like these little reviews from different gyms, and then it decided to once COVID hit and sat everybody down for a while, I had amassed like this weird amount of equipment, and I had a bunch of it, and I decided, I was like, this might be something, might be my moment. And, getting to sit at home for a year with the entertainment industry shut down, it was a thought. I had so many people asking me, can you help train me? Can you do this? I've seen your journey. I've done this. I've done that. And for years it was no, because I didn't have the acumen. I didn't know what I was supposed to do to help people, because I was still figuring out how to help myself. But people were seeing the change. So I was appreciative of it, but didn't know. I didn't want to be the guy on Instagram or, be like, how was you doing this in the music industry? Now you're doing this. Who says you're a professional? Right. Who's that? So they were right, and I refused to be one of those people. And so I decided to, educate myself in those last few years of me being in the entertainment industry. Same time I'm touring the world, I'm taking classes online, towards that last couple of years, and studying the whole thing, having to go take tests and really just trying to educate myself, because like I said, not having that, official, like somebody telling you like, hey, you know what you're doing, here's the paperwork, you're good. You know what I mean? And so I felt like there was an honest part of me that was like, if you're going to do this and you're going to save this for later or whenever you're going to use it, you need to go about it the right way and not just start, bluffing people. You need to be able to back that up, because how are you going to make the transition from something that's what seems so obscure? Right. And now, of course, the visual, people see me and I do it, but, I get to this point now where people are like, you were born like that? You look like that? And absolutely not. You know what I mean? I had to work hard for that. So the gym is something that's, probably going to be one of my hardest things ever. If I ever decide to flip businesses and go somewhere, it's going to be one of the hardest things ever to leave, because it's fulfilling every day. The grind is amazing. But yeah, man, it's learning the businesses and what people do and just how they do it, man. Just appreciation for all the hustlers. And you were one before me, watching you. I know you said watching my businesses and development, but dude, watching you and your story, like, I know the hustle. I know the stories of you being in the garage and going, and that's, you think about it, I started in my garage at the crib, people coming over, and then it was like, okay, there's something here and we can do something with it. And it's just about, whether or not you want to expand your brain power. It's do you got the dog or do you not?
Right. No, I appreciate that. I think what's interesting. I want to kind of go back a little bit, right? I think you said a lot of things that are interesting. And I think with this podcast specifically is you have a lot of people that have read about things and have done it, or read about things and talk from kind of theory versus people that have actually done it. Right. And so I think with this podcast, we really try to talk to people that have done it. And I think that like seeing your journey was like crazy. I mean, you look like you're literally a different person. And so I want to go back to that of like, what happened with that, even before the gym, of just like, how did you even make that transition? And what was that whole thing like? What was the thing that flipped the switch on you?
Bro, I'm gonna be, mine was very superficial. I take that back. Let me rewind that back. A lot of it, some of it was health. When I was 24, this was before I had even like really like met, or I say met, but like dated my wife. I had gotten a little, just had a job, was working, got a little comfortable, made a little money. And this is before the music industry, and I got a little heavy. And I went to the doctor. I like sprained my ankle or something. And I went to the doctor just to make sure it wasn't messed up really bad. And he told me that my blood pressure was really high, and that they were thinking about like putting me on some like, blood pressure medicine. I said, nah, I'm too young for that. I got to figure this out. So just went and did a little bit of, regular gymming and made it work. But then You get a little good results. The doctor's like, oh, you're good. You knew what you were doing. Stay on that path. You're great. Yeah, stay on that path. That's okay. That went out the window. So then we went back, put on some more weight, fluctuated a little bit, and then enter my music industry journey. 2009, I think me and you met probably somewhere around 2011-ish.
Yeah, 2011, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around between like 2011, 2012. And so before I met you, dude, I was making good money, bro. You know what I mean? Making good money, living on the road, going to bed super late, eating crazy food after shows and on tours, just living a ridiculous lifestyle food wise. Not, me, I was out on the road. I was fishing in business and it was all the time, but just, snacking crazy, what's available, you get it, and next thing I know, I looked up, man, I remember it to the day because it was on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve 2010, the day I got LeBron James's autograph. I'll never forget this. We're in Miami, bro. We're on tour, opening up for Usher. And, it's 2010, December 31st, and my wedding is March 11, 2011. So if you calculate that, it's like 2.5 months. And so this whole time on this tour, I was like, man, as soon as this tour over, I'm going to go home, I'm going to hit the gym, I'm going to look right. Well, I didn't know how right I was going to have to get. I looked at the scale that night, I was like, all right, let's see where I got to go. Whoo, bro, 311, 311 pounds. I never seen that 3 on the scale ever a day in my life. I never thought it was possible. So that was crazy, right? My wife is, gorgeous and small and petite and fit and all that. And so when I look at myself next to that, I'm gonna look like 500 pounds.
Yeah.
It's gonna, be crazy. So I was like, all right, we gotta hustle. I went old school, football, basketball, high school days, 2-a-days. You up in the morning, you ain't, we was fortunate we was gonna end the tour and the next one wasn't gonna start till literally the day after my wedding, Dev. Like we flew out for the next tour. Everybody that was at the wedding flew out the next day for the next tour. So
that's crazy.
So literally, I had this like 2.5 months to just get busy, and get busy. I did. I got down to 255 in 2.5 months. Disclaimer: whoever's watching this, don't do that. Do not. It's not healthy. I promise you, it's gonna be very satisfactory, but it's not healthy, man. Losing that much weight that fast, especially without a surgery. No, you know what I mean? Like. I didn't do any miracle drugs or anything like that, man. I was just hustling, cutting weight, and honestly, nutritiously depriving myself. I was under eating, didn't understand any of that, and so that journey on that initial weight loss was because of my wife and the wedding, But that little did I know that was the very, very, very beginnings of it, because the failures that come within the next 8 years of that beginning are epic. Like depression epic, the ups and the downs, the peaks and the valleys, because remember that's 2011 and I didn't become certified until 2018. So there's a 7-year gap there of trying to figure out how do I get to where I ended up wanting to even be certified. And so that journey was ruthless, and having to do it out on the road too was insane, man. It was ridiculous.
That's borderline impossible because you can't control anything.
So I had to almost take to some like religious type of things, you know what I mean? And I say, take the stance of like the Muslim culture, like people who don't eat pork and people don't. And so I went that far in, man. It started with the bet. Shout out Nate Jones on bass. Our bass player from TSC, Nate very well.
Yep.
And so Nate's on this huge, like, I'm pescatarian, you know what I mean? And so we go through this bet, like right after my wedding, he's like, man, you couldn't be pescatarian for a month. That's hard, G. And I was like, I'll do anything for a month. So I did pescatarian for a month, turned into 3 months, turned into a year. Then after that year, I brought back in chicken and turkey. And dude, to this day, since 2011, I haven't had beef or pork to this day.
That's crazy.
So you talk about, levels of like drive and commitment. I removed a whole category of food out of my wheelhouse. So that was tough on the road, trying to figure out how to eat catering when you don't, you know what I mean? respect to Nate for getting it done out on the road and staying as fit as he is, man, because it's a thing. It takes some real
Yeah, because
hustle.
Nate stays in shape. I mean, Nate is
So
in good shape.
that
He's
man
always been
Nate
in
will
shape.
always
So
be able to do 20 pull-ups on the spot whenever you need him to.
100%. Did that help? Did like when you guys were on the road, did you guys work out together, hold each
So
other accountable? Like what was that like?
I'm gonna be real with you, man. When I hit it, I saw people around me start to want to do it more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
I got people doing the insanity videos with me at load in. You know what I mean? I got people. I started carrying. Trey always has some equipment with him. You know, he always has some dumbbells. But then I started was like, now we're gonna carry a few benches. We're gonna carry adjustable dumbbells and bands, and we just man we I don't want to say I was responsible for it, but I definitely like kept it going. You know what I mean, and pushed it
love
a
that.
little bit more, just because I knew. We ain't getting younger, so
Right.
getting older, and all of us started having kids and all that stuff. It just became this thing where it was like, all right, man, we got another generation to stay healthy for, and we got to try to figure this out because right now we just out here living crazy.
So when did that more power to you too, even thinking about on tour, because it's hard when you have a routine and you at the house, but having so many, just factors that are out of your control and to
Bro,
navigate through that, that's a whole nother type of discipline and level of commitment.
and not commitment is huge because not every you go everywhere and me with the city like I'm moving with the production and the band and I always loop
Mm-hmm.
ahead of him and so getting to a venue and not even having in a hotel in the city
Right.
we might roll into the venue and have to push to the next one and not having a hotel which means no hotel gym what I mean
Mm-hmm.
no you just gotta figure it out dude and some days it would just be I gotta go on a run and do some body weight stuff or like luck, there wouldn't be any room to pull the weights out because we'd be in a theater or something like that. But man, I tell you this much: if you want to do it, you're going to do it. I mean, that's what it is. It's a light switch. That's kind of the way I approach my training now. It's like I'm never going to like be that coach that's militant and I'm going to be in your ear and I'm going to drill you because that's not enjoyment and part of the journey for longevity is what I feel like mentally helps sustain.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not happy in your movement and through it, like everybody starts off unhappy, or else my
Right.
company name wouldn't be Inner Turmoil. But you gotta, the journey needs to be hard, but it also needs to be fulfilling. And so if at some point it's just so stressful, you need to take a step back because you're probably going to quit if it's that cumbersome. You need everybody at their own pace. Yes, everybody needs a little bit of push every now and again. What's so easy, a lot easier to push somebody when they understand that, the journey is to be continued. Like I love that people have those, the goals or whatever, but, your ultimate goal should be, we got to add those minutes on to the end of our life. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a minute every day. Like that's where I want to go. If I could be 150, I want to be 150, but I know it's not possible, but I know if I can just a few minutes a day is going to help increase that. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. People start their journeys and quit all the time, and I tell them
Right.
like, you didn't quit, you just took a break. It's just time to unbreak yourself. You know what I mean? You got to turn that pause button off.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to stay consistent. I'm not gonna lie. Like I struggle with that of just staying consistent and it's the long term of like what you said in the process of stuff, right? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you want to do these goals. And I talk about it all the time, right? Like enjoying the process and stuff like that. And I think that there's just certain things that it's like you really have to try to train your brain into like enjoying it kind of, even when
Yes.
you don't. So what do you do in those process of like, because they said something, I don't know if this is true, but I saw it like on TikTok. They said that it is more likely that you will become a millionaire than have visible abs. Like the percentage of people that have visible abs versus are a millionaire, like the number is it's a huge difference in
You
terms of
want to
that.
know
And so
why?
just the commitment of that.
So I'll give you the reason to why that. First of all, the answer to that question, in my opinion,
Yeah.
everybody will go research to the end of the world how to
Mm.
go make $1 million, but they won't research how to work on themselves. And I had, okay, to the story of the 7 year, quickly in that, like, I've lost 100 pounds twice.
Damn.
Like, The first time I lost 100 pounds, not a near ab. And I had my wife, big ups my wife, who's going to always have my back and be my confidence coach and be like, well, babe, maybe you're not supposed to have abs. You kind of built a little bit bigger. And it's like, maybe, you were bigger, so maybe you got the, and I'm like, I allowed that to creep in for a long time. Mm-hmm. And be just satisfactory with like, it's not supposed to happen. But then it just was like, no. I was like, no, it's not. It's possible. Everybody can do it. I know it's possible, but why am I not getting there? I had to understand that, like, taking that red meat out of my diet, I lost a lot of nutrients and acids that come out of those things that help break food down, that helps body composition and all. So once I understood that and I brought those things in, by the way, it didn't happen like that. I'm talking, with the magic of television, like I'm telling you this, but that's not how it goes. But once I researched it and I found out all those things, that second time I lost 100 pounds, you better believe it's Avengers. Like, it's like we Iron Man, we got him. There it is. And like, you were just that moment of like proving other people and proving yourself, proving yourself right and understanding like, no, there is a way. You just need to figure it out. Now, me, I'm stubborn, dude. Like, I'm one of those people. It's like trial by fire, learn. Right. I don't like to feel like I'm bothering other people to ask for their help. Like, I hate that. And that's a pride problem. And I'm learning to be better because I have to teach my child that. Yeah. But I didn't ask for help. I didn't go to people in this field that knew that I knew. And I think it was because I was like, no, you can't go ask these people because they're going to think you don't know what you're doing, and that's not going to be a portrayal of what your brand or who you're supposed to be. That's the stupidest thing I ever did because I could have got there so much faster just by asking somebody. That's the thing but I can't change that. So now all of that is a part of my story and a part of my journey, and I have to accept that and be willing to look at it and be like, man, you were dumb. Why didn't you just ask somebody? You know what I mean? You could have, but because I didn't, I know what it takes. I know how hard it can be. I know the ups and downs of all the people that have been or are sitting right there. And that I think for me is probably the most rewarding thing when I click with a client, that they look at me and they're like, I like your version of training because I haven't found a trainer that suits me yet. And I'm like, well, I think that's weird to me because I feel like trainers are supposed to kind of like be able to figure out where these people are. But I feel like there's a lot of these people that are out there that don't know how. And I'm not holding somebody's account because they didn't go through that specific journey, but I feel like that they don't care to research or talk about those things that are a little bit outside of their comfort zone. They don't want to ask, right? So you think that I didn't have to go ask to figure out how to make people who are skinny and make them bulkier and get muscle? I never was that. So I had to go talk to people and research people like, hey man, what is this mass lean gainer? And what is all that? And why does it work for these smaller people? And what is the trick to dieting and macros and, taking nutrition courses? So that was all the same thing for me. And I think because I had such the struggle of a journey of like my timing and all the situations with the other job and that type of stuff, that it just took me longer, but I was able to absorb a lot more knowledge from other people.
How did you get to the point? Because I struggled with that too. Like that wasn't until recently that I was like, okay, if I like struggling asking for help, right? What changed with that told you like, all right, I need to figure this out? And what was that like? How'd you adapt to that?
Man, I would have to say, this one's tough because I still find myself trying to bury a lot of things internally and not asking. I still feel like I always ask too late, and I need to get better about like going with my first instinct and jumping ahead and asking. But I would have to be honest with you, give that credit to probably my mother and my wife. Only because I'm the closest with them and I'm around them the most. And they see probably a majority of my struggles, like firsthand. And so when my language shit gets epic, um, they're the ones who are like, well, where do you need help? You know?
Mm.
And so because they seen, the stress or whatever that moment is, they've been my, and them letting me know it's okay to ask for help. So I get into the now, talking about mental health with a lot of different people, and anybody in the service industry, because that's what I am. A personal trainer, you're in the service industry. You know what I mean? You're serving, you're doing a service for somebody. My training is a service. When you do that for somebody, man, the personalism of that, we become almost like therapists. It's like your barber.
Yeah.
How close to
100%.
y'all and what you talk to them about. And, it's the same thing. And you get the realms of like the different things that you hear from different people every day and just self-reflection. And then having to try to draw upon an instance from yourself, whether or not I've got clients older than me, significantly older than me, younger and significantly younger. So each one of them living a different stress in their lives. And I'm saying from 7th grade up to 70, they're all living at different points in their lives, and stresses are drastically equal, or for them, it's equal in their lives of what the stress is and how big. But for me, it's like scales of levels and understanding, well, where can I share some of my, it's not like I'm, this huge, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not this like prophet, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I've walked a lot of different lives. I feel like I've lived 1,000 lives in 37 years and been around so many different cultures and so many different people and experiences that, man, it's really easy for me to just draw upon certain things sometimes or be vested in somebody's conversation because I've known something like that or referred to it. And when you have to talk people through stuff, man, shout out to all those people that have to listen, because it's not that like though their problems are my problems, but you become concerned with other people and you have this like innate ability to just care more, right? You care more. And so with that being said, I feel like because I care more and I have this like outpouring of offering that I want to give to everybody else, like I've started accepting that you need it too. Self-care is needed. I need to be able to have somebody to ask, like, can I do this or can I do that? And like I said, man, it's still a daily thing, and being able to do that, you know what I'm saying, and draw upon the people in your life that you expect that from, or I don't want to say expect, but say that you could share those moments with. And yeah, dude, it's my mom and my wife definitely helped pull that out of me, because, like I said, they've seen me go through all my hardships, every last one of them.
I
And
love that. I
excuse me
think.
if you hear my dogs barking in the
Oh no, you're good. You're
background,
good.
because wifey and kiddo are pulling up from school, and I know they're gonna go nuts. So
You're good. You're good. It's what's interesting is that as like I find that, and as I talk to like different men, sometimes it's hard for us to ask for help because we feel like we need to try to fix everything, right? Like,
everything,
and I think that that's part of like a cultural thing. We're like, oh, we need to be able to have the answers, or we need to be tough. We need to be able to fix things. And so
yeah,
sometimes I feel like it could get hard sometimes to ask for help, or to be able to show vulnerability. And I realize like when you do that, that actually is like making you stronger in terms
yep,
of like how you address it and identify and work with it, and if you battle through it. And so that's cool, man. I think that like what's really cool is just, you know, even just getting to know you, your wife, your mom, everybody has always kind of accepted me, right? And like treated me like their own, even when we first met, right? And I always appreciate that. So I think surrounding yourself around good people is always important. And I think that one thing that I've admired about kind of how you move is how you guys move as a family unit, and just the closeness of that. And I think that that is just something that's like, it's super inspiring, right? Because that's all we got at the end of the day. It's like being
that's
able
it.
to move around with our family, and to be able to set that up. So how has that experience been? Just, I know that has to be crazy just for your daughter, just, being able to, as a father, be able to transform your life so much to know that she's going to look at that one day and like be proud of you. And I know she is now, but I'm just saying, like, as she starts to get older, she's going to really see that and appreciate that when she goes into adulthood. And building on her character and what she does. And I know that has to be like, from a father standpoint, like that has to be, you know, a really good feeling to just know you're setting that
It's
example.
crazy now, man, with the kids and with my kid. Let me take the S off of that. With my child, you know, she right now, you know, for the last, let's see, we're going into year 4, so I try to figure out like how much she remembers of the entertainment industry. Right? I think you know, she sees the pictures, she sees the videos, she knows she's been to cool places, she knows she's met cool people. You know, you get a lot more questions now that she's in middle school. Like, you know, people see her with pictures with people, and it's crazy. But I think the stuff that she's gonna remember the most is like watching us open these businesses and build them, and just watching how much we hustled, and you know, the times that she's up there helping and doing different things. You know, we try to make sure we keep that balance. But I think the thing that she's going to appreciate the most with these 2 businesses is to understand that we were always around. We were always available. You know, even if we're running our own place, our businesses are right next to her school right now. They're in our same community, and just being present. I think, you know, not that there was anything wrong with the music industry. I still love it to death. People ask me, would you go do it again? 100%. I'd go back tomorrow. Uh, but I know there's somebody else around, you know, that needs me more present. And that, I think, is going to be what she remembers about hustling for yourself and being it. It's like the family's there. You know, we're in it. We're in it together. We see each other all the time. Um, and it was because we made it a family thing, right? Like, I didn't try to keep my kid out of there when she asked me, "Hey, Dad, how do you do this? How do I make this? Or can I come up to the gym and just sit there while you and Mom work out?" Or like just anything, right? Like those types of things, like just made it those, you know, saying like, well, yeah, you know, the gym's not open on the weekends, so it's just us in there, you know, to have our own time and do our things and kind of just be together. I think that's what I'm probably going to be most proud of, was that being able to completely shift your life because I needed it to fulfill what I wanted for her, which was both parents, being present, being around, being at recitals, being at competitions, going to do the school stuff, parent teacher conferences, you know, all that. Like I wanted to be fall festival dad, you know, volunteer watchdog dad. I wanted to do all that because um, you know, nothing against my parents or anything like that. You know, we all just grow up with different times and different availabilities. And, you know, I'm raised to be a pretty solid human in my eyes. So I think my parents accomplished what they needed. And so every generation is about being better, right? One step better and doing so everything changes and set the precedent and change it. We always say set the tone for the next generation. So I just set the tone. You know, I try to set the tone with my daughter and just say, look, your mom and dad are going to be present. They're going to be here. You know, you need us. We ain't going to be far. If we're traveling, it's because you knew we were traveling and we were going together, most likely. So that to me, man, is huge because, you know, that's not everybody, and
Nah,
everybody can't
that's
do it.
amazing. Nah, for sure. I mean, I think that you guys have always moved as a unit too. Like I said, when you guys would be on tour dates in the Bay or wherever we would link
Yeah,
up, you know, she'd be there. She was a little baby running around, you
yeah.
know, and it was like, it's so crazy to be able to see the evolution and the
And
development of
that's
it.
and that's let's be clear. You know, that's not a normal thing. So I got to give props to my brother. I'm you know, shout out to Trey because you know most people that work in the industry like that can't have their wife and can't have their, you know, their kid, and it was a
For real.
family. You know what I'm saying? So it was a family. He made us feel like a family, and he let us, you know, put our families together and bring them out and do things like that. So, you know, let's he made it as good as he could make it in those situations. Before my child started school, it was like if kiddo's coming out, she's coming out, whatever it is, we're gonna make it available. We're gonna find the space and put her on the bus. We're gonna do whatever. So yeah, man, you know, just being very fortunate in those time frames to be able to do that was huge. Until we finally had to make the decision. You know, she got to go to school at some point. You know, and had we known COVID was coming, eventually we could have just done virtual schooling our whole life. It might have been different, but you know, I like this, man. You know, I was going and going and going and traveling the world, and my body was just starting to get not really like me too much, and I just needed that moment, and gracefully he let me go spread my wings and try to hustle, man. I like to tell people, like, I spent 12 years helping another person build their career and be a part of that. And very, very proud of it. Would never change it. I hope to still be a part of it in the future. Obviously, kids come into play, rules change. And it's man, I think about it now. Starting a business is the hardest thing you ever do in your life. It's 10 times harder than I ever had it out on the road. But I do it for me.
Yeah, and everything is on you.
12 years of building someone else, and now I figured I'm gonna take some years to see if I can do it for myself, right? And you realize, at the top, there's nobody else to ask for help, and that's a good, jog back to what we were talking about. When you feel like you're at the top of something and it's your thing and you started, and you only got two hands and, a few ways to do certain things, asking for help becomes, well, who's going to help me because they're busy with this, and who's going to help me because they're busy with that, and you're trying to, balance and juggle all this, and, you kind of get stuck at the top lonely. And so I start looking at those situations of where, it doesn't matter in business and being a celebrity or being an artist, when you're at the top and it's on you to make everything go, it's tough, man. It's tough every day. And, I shot myself in the foot twice because I opened up 2 businesses in 2 years, and then my wife decided to do a brick and mortar. And then so it was like, people are like, most people don't start one business in their life, and then most of those people don't ever make it to a brick and mortar location. We went to 3 brick and mortars in 3 years. So, you talk about stepping in it. We was knee deep, waist deep. You know what I mean? And it was all consecutively, and while one's running and you got to start the other, well, you can't forget about, it's still got to go.
Yeah, no, 100%. I remember having those conversations with you. I remember you were like, okay, cool. I've done this for the 12 years and I want to set something up. And I remember that from the beginning, right? I remember those conversations and just going from the transition of, it's difficult. That's why, you hit the nail on the head. It's like, when you working for somebody, there's always somebody to blame or somebody to help with something. It's like when you're running your own thing, there's really nobody to blame. Like you can't outrun yourself. And so it's like, it's kind of like, it's that ultimate self-accountability awareness. I literally just did an episode about that. And I was like, one of the 5 things that I was talking about of like, what I wish I would have known starting a business is like, it's your fault.
Always. It is always your fault. You're like, oh, you can't look left and be like, it slipped through the cracks. And you know what I'm saying? And so I self-reflect on those things, man. I hit myself a few times thinking back in the industry where, we would have situations and we'd be like trying to figure out why did this happen or who's da-da-da-da-da. Well, the crazy part is if all of us know about it and we're all asking the question, technically it's on all of us. But eventually the person who it's lastly on is the dude we all work for.
100%.
So, I started respecting that a lot more because, it's huge. When you go out and you're representing somebody like that, and your actions represent that person. And when they go in, the first thing is going to be like, well, his such and such people, da, 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 da. Well, it leads off with his name. Now, in my regards, it's, this gym, da, 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 da. Well, the first thing is, well, who is that? Who is that gym? And when they figure out who owns it, it's all over. It's all on me. There's no other well, it wasn't my fault that day. My other trainer wasn't there to open the gym and da, 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 da. That's not on them. They don't want to hear none of that. So you can't, somebody late for work at the shop. They don't, late for their shift in the morning. And I got people hitting up the page being like, oh, you guys are closed today. There's no sign on the door. Da, 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 da. You're like, what's going on? Like I'm over here doing this. Why didn't the doors open? And that's woo-wee. That's crazy.
Love that, man.
Especially in retail, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because you got to be on all the time.
All the time.
You dropped some amazing gems in this. This has me thinking a lot in terms of just even from accountability, from working out, taking your health serious and all this stuff. This is really good. If you had to give, thinking about the top one, two, three, whatever it is, things that come to mind in terms of like what you would have told yourself before you started and opened up these businesses for somebody that's just getting started or thinking about opening up a gym or whatever the case may be? What are those like, top few things that you would tell your younger self or somebody that's just getting started?
The first thing I'm gonna have to say is keep going. The moment you think you got it, and the moment you think you're on top and like the sun is shining, and nope, keep going, because the moment you become settled and you take that like breather, it's something else. You need to be always on, like you said, always on. Be prepared. When you have made yourself the front of anything, be prepared. I mean, that comes from, this is wild. So, on the back of, people put like their companies on the back of their car windows.
Yep.
Right? Like to advertise their business, right? Like you did, their podcast or KURIEO Media or anything like that. People got in the back of your car. You can't drive around flipping people off.
Yeah.
You can't drive around cutting traffic off. You can't. So at this point, it's like all the time, always on. You think about that celebrity. Can't walk out and have a bad day. Celebrities are not allowed to have a bad day because there's a thing called 3-letter website I'm not going to give credit to. It's on TV every day. You know what I'm saying? You're going to end up right on there. And they're waiting on you to do that. Just like you might not think like, ain't nobody know me. But hopefully people do know you, first of all. So stop thinking like that. So yeah, always on is going to be one. Man, the next one is going to be, do your research. Make sure that you understand whatever it is in the business you're going to do. Make sure that you're not, beating a dead horse. Make sure you're not like giving something that everybody's getting out of. Make sure, you need to make sure that you're so sure on what you're going to do that it's just falling in line. When things, I'm not saying that all things are going to be easy, but when you have really thought something through and it's going to make its move and it's going to really do something for you, you've thought it out, right? Like I drew my whole gym out and what it was going to cost me and like just, this and that and just, all the way down to everything, because I'll tell you this, in business, you don't want to do things twice. Because when you have to do things twice, it's heartbreaking. It's financially heartbreaking. It's mentally stressful. You will shed some tears. It's going to happen. And then lastly, man, I think I'm starting to find out, and I've used it multiple times today before I even got on this podcast, and I'll give you the example too, is self-accountability. Like it's your choice. You're looking to start a business. Nobody else said, hey, man, go do this. And you're like, okay. Like you had to have some drive to be able to go do this thing. So now if you're going to do it, make yourself accountable to do it, right? I'm not saying you got to be perfect, because great quote that I heard not too long ago, and I'm going to reuse it. And Vince Lombardi, it's like, the world's not perfect. It's just not. No human is perfect, nothing like that. But if we strive for perfection, we might just find amazing, right? Like if you keep fighting for perfect, you just might find how pretty amazing you are, right? Or that situation, or that product, or whatever you're going to put out. So just try, and own your mistakes. I made a mistake today. In fact, with the scheduling of this podcast, taping this right now. So I owe my boys a shout out. I'm a high school varsity basketball strength and conditioning coach for the Booker T. Washington Hornets in Tulsa, Oklahoma, historically black high school. We are a solid squad. But I made a mistake today. I was supposed to be in a workout with them because I am every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at this time. And I scheduled this with Brittany knowing that. And I just completely messed up and forgot to tell the boys and forgot to tell coach. And I had to hit them at the last minute. But I did it on accountability, and I hit the group and I said, fellas, I'm going to own that one. That's on me. And I put accountability. I say, we asked for accountability, and I'm my own mind. And they were like, everybody's like, you good, coach, you good. And I'm like, no, that's my mistake. I was like, and I own that, because we talk about scheduling and being on top of stuff and communication. And I said, and that's my fault. I was like, they were, an hour away from starting practice or starting my workouts, and I'm about to just call out on them. And so that was on me. And so understanding and just being able to say I messed up is okay. Because if you mess up and you put your hand when you mess up, somebody might pick you up, right? Somebody might give you that helping hand that you need. But the only way they're going to know is if you're accountable and you speak up. So self-accountability and what we learned and what we understood and trying to raise my hand, the more that I tell myself that I need help or I'm not doing something or I don't know what I'm doing, and saying, well, what can I do to fix it, or how can I be accountable? It just leads to asking other people who do know. So that's a huge, man. Accountability, stay on, and just keep going. Keep going.
I love that. I love that. I couldn't agree more. I think that those are some things that a lot of people don't understand, especially people getting started, right? Like when you are transitioning into a business of like all of those things, like the always on thing, right? That's something you don't really think about, that you don't know how you represent yourself everywhere is going to be a reflection of your business and everything like that. That's very true. I love it, bro.
I can't be in a horrible mood when my clients walk in and they're ready to come in there and like, I can't be like, we got these 3 sets today. You know what I'm saying? I got to be on. No matter how bad my day is, when they walk in, I got to be like, what's up? I got to tell everybody how you doing. Let's get to work. We're going to stretch. We're going to warm up, and we're going to get this work in. That's what they're expecting. You know what I mean? Like I said, service industry, face-to-face, you got to be able to do it.
I love that, man. Well, I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate your time and making some time to get on here despite the scheduling issues. I really do appreciate that. What are some social channels or where can people find you? How can they support? Where is that at?
Man, and by the way, like absolutely, I committed to this, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I love everything that you've ever done, by the way. So there's not a thing that you've ever done that I've been like, man, he half-assed that. Never.
Appreciate that.
I think you always curate such a special product in everything that you do, and I don't think you ever limit yourself as far as what you're capable of. That's kind of, some of the things that I've seen you do, and I'm like, man, if he can go from this to this to this, maybe I can ask him some questions. And we've done that. I've asked you some questions before, on the advertising side. So, but my social channels, man, for the gym, it's just Fit Worldwide, PHIT Worldwide. That's gonna be my gym page, and then I got a nutrition club at Fit Nutrition, so PHIT Nutrition, and then man, those are my 2 business pages. If you want to follow my social life and more of my kids stuff, it's just George Worldwide, so JORGE Worldwide, and Facebook, Instagram, all of them are the same, man. And dude, I like I said, watching you grow, from having a kid and just into fatherhood and always hustling and just, seeing, sometimes I'd be like, man, Dev don't post enough. Where he at? I'm trying to figure out what he's doing. And, but then I go check the other business pages and I'm like, okay, and then I understand like, taking that moment for fatherhood and just being present was huge. And I get it. And man, I just still need to come back out. I owe you a visit out to all the offices and just check everything
100%. Out. No, we're gonna make it happen. I appreciate those words, man, for real. I think, just making adjustments. Like you said, there's ups and flows or ebbs and flows and ups and downs. And it's just a matter of adapting and figuring it out. But I'm here. I'm trying to put out my best stuff. I'm trying to curate these conversations to bring, value to the world. And I think that there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. And so I'm trying to take your advice and always stay on. So I appreciate the conversation, bro.
Absolutely, dude. I think the way that you're presenting this and letting people understand, different facets of the things that you've navigated, the people that you've met, and and the way that they've made their transitions, and is respectable, because somebody trying to dive into like journeys of other people sometimes is just always about like, how'd you do what you did to get the bag? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's not really, that's not really what the rest of us are really focused on. I think that, yeah, money's great and, the bag is always cool. But the mentality that it takes to try to get to that place is huge. And you understand that. And so you being able to put some quality content together to get that out and, just share with regular folks, right? Like, I mean, it's just people don't get it. And, I by far don't think me or you are celebrities in any right? I think we are probably two of the most normal people I know to hang out with celebrities that don't really care about any of that. I think it's
100%.
just that we understand that they're normal people like we are, and we just try to find what our hustle is, right? What it is and how we can navigate. So, but there is a correlation, between those things because we've learned a lot from watching some of the people that we've worked for and done work for. So if it wasn't for those people and those things, I don't think we, be where we are right now. I think we would still be, relevant, but we understand that, but it's making the best of everything, right?
Yeah, most people, that's the thing too about just in terms of like, especially what you see online and social media, everybody talking about, oh, it's the money, how you, like you said, how you get to the bag. And then when you really get there, you realize like, damn, like if you're not fulfilled and like internally in a good place, that's going to make it worse because you thought that this was going to make you feel better. Then when you get it, you realize it don't make me feel better. Now you really feel lost. That's why people, fall into drugs and all kind of stuff. And it's just, yeah, man, it's something bigger than that. And I just think that with this content and what we want to do is we want to show the realness of creating a life that you actually enjoy, that's fulfilling and rewarding and like it's meaningful. It's not just about, material stuff.
Yeah, it's fulfillment for sure. Like I said, my fulfillment doesn't come with stress daily. I'm a business owner. That's a part of it, right? Business up and down. But the overarching, thing is that I'm home with my wife, home with my kid. We got a roof over our head, both got a car, kid's healthy. She gets to do all the extracurricular things that she wants to do, and we get to be a part of it. We've got businesses in the community that people like. So when you ask like fulfillment, my fulfillment was never to make the world scream. That wasn't my thing, right? And so for me, it was just about making sure that internally my circle and my little tripod was happy. And I think I've accomplished that. A lot of it gets lost, like you said, in searching for the bag. But what's crazy, and I just loosely ask you this question because as a business owner who, profits come in, and what people don't realize when you own businesses, when profits come in, where do you put it? Right back into the business.
100%.
It goes back into expanding what you do. And, as long as it's fulfilling anyways,
right.
It goes back into it. So really and truthfully, like people say, oh yeah, you trying to get the bag. I'm like, man, but if I get it, I ain't doing nothing but putting it right back into what I'm doing already because I found what it is that I want to keep the wheels turning on. So
100%.
Truth be told, yeah, the bag might come, but the bag's coming and going. It's coming in and going right back out. So
100%.
And that's how it should be if you're in that moment of your moment of clarity or your moment of success, and I think it's also just, defining what is success for everybody. So, success could be, you passing that driver's license exam or, you getting that job or whatever that is in that moment, but just appreciating the moment more. I think that's where I kind of, I see myself post 2020 is just little moments, right? Clarity. I posted 2 days on my Instagram page, just a little quick snippet of when we took the kiddo to London this past spring break for her first time.
Saw that.
There was like a little reel of like the highlights from the stories, and I think my caption said moments into memories, right? Making sure that moments become memories and not just and slowing down just a little bit. That entertainment life is fast. And I look up, it was 2009, and I took a nap and woke up, and it was 2020, and it was 2021, and you're like, whoa, like didn't even realize, I was in that for that long. So, and it started before 09, but like the thick of it, what I'm saying, it was heavy rotation of travel and just being not present somewhere, but not really in my space. I think me and you have had more interactions just like this that have been more fulfilling outside of the times where I'm like getting you into a venue or meeting you at a, you know what I'm saying? Like
100%.
These have always been the better moments that we've ever shared, is just conversations offline outside of it.
Yeah, and I think building those relationships, I remember, you know, we spoke, I don't know, it was something on, I think it was like Easter or something. I just sent you a text, and I remember you said that I was one of the very few people that once they got the product in, you know, the artist's hand, that they just dipped. And it's like I found that just building relationships is everything, right? Like I posted something that said like relationships will open up doors money can't. You know, and I truly believe that. And I think that it has been something that we've been, you know, rocking with. And I really am a firm believer in those relationships and building real relationships, not no fake stuff until you get what you want. And it's super transactional. It's on like, how can I provide value? And then if something comes from it, cool. If it doesn't, cool. Like that's it just is what it is.
Exactly. I would 100% agree. You know, to this day, you know, I would like to say that I worked, you know, as a stand-up person in the industry, to where if I called upon anybody that I came across in the industry and asked them, you know, a question, or, you know, they you know, especially with somebody I interacted with, they would reciprocate that, man, I got you. You know what I mean? And I operate on that. And that's probably my one biggest piece of advice, you know, like you said, was just relationships, and curate them. You never know who's in the room. That's a part of always being on, you know, like you never know. You don't know who you're sitting next to. You don't know who you're flying next to. You don't know who's in that lobby of the hotel. You don't know who's in the restaurant in the booth behind you. You don't know. You just don't know. And so if you're considering going out and being, you know, an entrepreneur or hustling for yourself, or, you know, you better self-reflect before that, because if you can't portray what it is you want people to come to you for, whether it's, you know, a service or a contracting gig or whatever, then you might as well hang it up and just go work for somebody.
It's real. It's real. Yeah. I love it, bro.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate this conversation. I'm looking forward to connecting with you in person. And yeah, again, I appreciate it. I'm you know, proud of what you accomplished. And I'm excited to continue to watch the journey, because I know this isn't, you know, this is just the beginning. So I appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely, my guy. Yes, sir.